Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 68 of A Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Hi and welcome to anybody who's new. My name is Megan. I am a knitter based out of the Pacific Northwest. I live just north of Seattle with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. I primarily knit, sometimes crochet. Next year I'm going to add a fun new textile-y thing, which we'll talk about closer to the new year. And I spin yarn. And I knit with that spun yarn on occasion, so that's fun. I am going to talk through the things that normally happen in a knit podcast like this. So finished objects, my whips, what I'm wearing, and which happens to be a finished object this week, and acquisitions, as well as like some things in the yarn world I want to point out, and a tip of the week. So let's just jump right in. I am wearing today my newly washed and blocked and newly complete Metropolitan Pullover. I finished this on Sunday, maybe. I think Sunday, maybe even Saturday. I want to say Sunday. And I put it on the blocky mats though on Monday. I do remember that because it took a while to dry. And then I had to mad dash block some squares, which those I pulled off like just before this episode. So let's talk about what this is. This is a new design. I think it came out this fall, like early fall, October, from Tori Yu, who is Tori Knits NYC on Instagram and wherever. This is a top-down contiguous construction, kind of open gauge knit. It does have, so what contiguous construction means, and no one's corrected me, but I'm pretty sure this is what this means. And I did a contiguous construction like open shirt this year also. Hold on, let me adjust lighting. It is what it is. I have it's early morning here in the Pacific Northwest, and as you can imagine, that means gray. So I only really have like overhead and a little small ring light to help me here. But so all that means is you cast on this shoulder piece at the same time that you cast on the back, and then you create stitches to create the front. So you can give yourself sort of an inset sleeve look depending on how you do your body join. So in this case, and like in the other case of the other one I did, I think that we did like to the point of where this one was before joining in the round to do sleeve increases. The other shirt that I had made just sort of stopped here, and then I did front panels, and then I did join in the body underneath, and that was that gray polo I made, the Verna. And then I did a cap sleeve. Well, this one, because you join in the round, you can kind of create the cap sleeve while you're knitting. So that's how it's constructed. And then this is interesting because there were some raglan increases too, and those happened further down here. And then it just joined in the round, and then you knit in the round, and your sleeves are, again, have like a cap sleeve. You can see my sleeve line because I joined a new ball of Surrey, and for sure this Surrey and the body Surrey, like after I like finished my Surrey my first Surrey ball, like right here somewhere, like right by when I joined. And then my body's darker also. So I'll stand up so we can check it out, and then we can talk about measurements, which are wildly off from pattern, and we talk about why. So I told you that last week when I was holding up, I was like, wow. And it's hard to tell sometimes, and I did not gauge swatch. So here's a lesson in not gauge swatching. I'm not mad about it for this one, but I'm also tempted to remake this in a different yarn, different yarn, or just, another combo maybe of the same type. Okay, so I'm a little further away, but like we said, we have a movable tripod at this point, so this is good for life. Okay, so here is what it is. This was supposed to be 48 inches, so obviously this is not 48 inches because my bust is 47, so we've got quite a lot of ease. I'll talk about the measurements, but I love it. I mean, the fit is very oversized and comfy. It was not what I was going for, which is why I would be tempted to do it again. But overall, I do like the fit. And it is supposed to, I mean, like it's written to have ease, maybe not quite this much ease, but you can see like where the armpit is. And you can even see in Tori's pictures, she's little and hers are sitting off of her shoulder just a bit too. I think I would like another one where this is really sitting on the shoulder and then the neckline is probably a little bit more closed, which I could have done on this one too, but I don't actually dislike how it's laying. I think it's fine. So, but yeah, so it's got a lot of ease. The back is just plain. Not a lot going on there. The armpit is a little bit low, but again, my gauge is off, so that attributes to it a little bit, but we'll talk about, you know, where I'm off on gauge. But like overall, I mean, I think it's cute. I will definitely wear it. I did a big mod for sleeves. We talked about that before. So you can see I gave myself a little bit of a balloon sleeve. I enjoy this a lot. And yeah, I think that overall I'm super happy with the fit, the feel. It's just not exactly what I thought I was gonna get when I first cast it on. And I liked the pattern a lot and it went by fast. So another one could be on the horizon for next year. Or whenever. Okay, the reset to get exactly the same angle is hard, but hopefully this is close-ish. So yeah, let's talk about the gauge first. So the gauge for this pattern is supposed to be 16 stitches and 21 rows. I ended up with about 13 stitches and 20 rows, which is in the body. When I was knitting part of it flat and also before I joined in the round, which shouldn't be that, or before I joined underarms, which should be relatively close. This is actually just a tiny bit looser up here. So I actually think my row gauge is closer to like 19 or 18 here, 20 down here. But my stitch gauge is about the same, somewhere around 13 stitches up here. So, that's going to give you a different size, obviously. 13 stitches, so 3 stitches in 4 inches is, when something is 48 inches is going to give you significantly different sizing. So I'll tell you what size it ended up being. But what I will say is I think that since my row gauge, is not super far off for the armpit thing, like I don't think that this would have been raised all the way up here. Like my armpit's up here, way up here. It wouldn't do that. And I don't think that's the intention, but it would probably be up a little bit. And again, if it was sitting just a smidge closer on my, on my shoulder, then this would not be so dramatically different either, right? So it would be a different look and feel, which is why I originally picked the 48-inch size, because I wanted it to be something that had less ease. Okay, did not achieve, but I will also say this is a very warm fabric. So this is my first unspun project. This is Nudidin plus Berry Surrey from Woolberry held together. And it's warm. And my house is not warm. So I am warm. Which makes me think that like, I really like how, I mean, this weighs almost nothing. So we can talk about the yarn usage too, but like, it's so light and airy. And I really love that. And I like how filled in, like, even though I can see that the gauge is open, it does not feel airy at all. Like I'm not going to like be showing bra or undershirt or anything like that. But if I did it again, I would be tempted to do like a light, like maybe a fluffier fingering. Maybe not like a superwash and a mohair. Though I feel like, okay, and I don't have the yarn for this, and I'm not going to like really put this, like this is just if I so decided in the future. What I just used in my tessellated, that truffla, I feel like truffla plus a fingering would be amazing in this because it fills in differently, and I feel like you would get such a nice light fabric that wouldn't be so hairy, but it would be very like fluff. I hope those words made sense to you. But I think that's what that would be a thought for the future. Anyway, and I mean, you could get a heavier fabric and have like less gappy fabric with a 16-inch gauge if you did a sport plus a fingering too or something like that. But anywho, the airiness. Okay, so I ended up with, these are my finished measurements. I ended up with 56-inch bust. So we're 8 inches off, y'all. And then a 22 inches from shoulder to hem, and from shoulder to underarm about 10 inches, and from underarm to hem 12. And that's actually like, just because of how it's draping in all to me, like also because the underarm is not like at my underarm, this is not cropped. You saw that at all. And then the sleeve length is 16 inches from the underarm to the end of my sleeve. And you can see like it doesn't appear as long as they do when my arms are just down, but when I'm like moving around, that's why I added a tiny bit of extra length. The neck width is 11 inches, and the back, like from the back of neck to the front of the rolled collar, is 3.5 inches. So not, you know, a little bit of a scoop, but not a lot. I didn't measure my bicep, but it's got to be like 17 or 18 inches. Like I have ease on here, and I've got a big arm. So, but okay, let's talk about this. So first mod I did is that instead of doing either, there are 2 sleeve options, tapered and straight. And the straight included like a straight cuff. Not interested in that. And the tapered, I just thought with this fabric, and I think I made a good call because it is very warm, and I could tell it's gonna be very warm. Like just having it on my lap was like way warmer than a heavy blanket. Like it was so warm on my lap, just holding in all my heat. So I did like a sort of balloon sleeve-ish thing. So what I ended up doing is I did from underarm every 10 rows. I did a decrease on both sides of the round. And then I did that all the way through. I think I did like 7 decreases. I think 7. Then I did like 2 rows, and then I did a rapid decrease, and I just did like knit 3, knit 2 together for most of the round. There were a couple of knit 2, knit 2 together. So I wanted to get to the tapered sleeve number of stitches for this size, which I did. Then I used my cordsmith to do the I-cord, which I did for both sleeves because I wanted them to match. But going back, would I have done that? Should I have just gone to do this with needle sizes A? This is not a lot of stitches. It did get very tight on my cordsmith, this one, and I had a feeling it was going to do that, just compared to the rest of the gauge, right? So the cordsmith works great, and I use the original size for most of these things, even like all different size yarns and gauges, and I used it like to do necklines with fingering weight, the regular size one, and it was wonderful, all of these things. This was tight, very tight. And so these are like, I need assistance to get them on and off, but I love that they're not going to move very much. Like I can pull it up my forearm a little bit, but like, they're just not going to fall off my hand past my, you know, like past my palm ever. So that's great. It's perfect for the look I wanted. And then the neckline, I think I said was an I-cord, but I was wrong. This is just a rolled neckline. Which again, because this is larger than expected, it's a little bit wider than expected, but I don't dislike how that's falling. That's fine. It's not like, it's not showing bra, and it's not like gonna fall off either side or anything like that, right? Like it's fine. And then the bottom, you go down a needle size, a couple rows, and then you do your I-cord bind off with just that needle. And I decided to just use that needle because it's still like a rather large needle size. Like it was like a 4.5 millimeter, like something like that. Like it was big to do the bind off. And I was kind of worried that it was going to be like too large just because this is so fluffy and the Nudiden just does not want to compress that much, but it was fine. So, that's where we are. Okay, yarn. So I use like just over 200 grams of this, 203 grams of Nudiden, which was 1,145-ish yards. And Nudidens are like, you know, we talked about this last week, not all created exactly the same. So like give or take, right? Close-ish. And then the Berry Surrey, I used 2.88 skeins, and they're 50 grams. So it was like 144 grams and 945 yards. So overall, I used 2,089 yards in this, which is pretty good dent in the stash, but, you know, not a lot at this point. But yeah, so, I mean, 2,000 yards sounds like a lot, but like there, you know, 945 of Surrey is not a lot. So that feels good. Like, I really could make this with 3 skeins of Surrey again in the future, just like with gauge. And that's what I was kind of hoping. And some open fabric. And I will say, I don't think I'll use this pattern, but, you know, I bought that super electric Surrey color and to use with this, and I have 3 skeins of both of these, which is plenty of yardage for this one and about the same amount of yards for the Surrey. And like, that could be something I do with this really open gauge. Like, the slub will help fill out the gauge. Whatever I'm gonna do, it's gonna have this kind of open gauge, so it could be this, it could be something else. Yeah, here we are. Pattern wise, it was well written, easy to figure out. I do like this eyelet piece here, but I do feel like it's not a super obvious, maybe just in this size, it's not like a super obvious detail. The construction though was like fun and fast and something a little bit different, so that was nice. And I like how, generally speaking, I really like saddle shoulders, so even though this is not a true saddle shoulder, I like how this is sitting. And also, it's less annoying than a saddle shoulder to create, because saddle shoulders are real annoying. Like, you knit this itty bitty thing and then you have to pick up on both sides of it and hope that you don't get like a lumpy mess. And this is so smooth and nice and fine. And like, those provide slightly more like structure, but like, I think this is great. So could be in the future. I think if yeah, I mean, I think it would be an easy one to modify the neckline, either picking up less stitches or creating more of a scoop, or like doing a, you know, a small ribbing. Like, you could do that very easily on this and change the look a little bit. But this is like a pretty good base pattern for this small detail here, which again, you also, like, if you didn't like this piece, it would be relatively, I actually don't know if you could omit it. You could omit it just doing a different kind of increase instead of doing the increase that's created with the yarn overs. Like, you could do a lifted increase and you would probably get something pretty similar without so much gap. Those are my thoughts on it. Easy to read, would do again. Not sure about this yarn combo for this pattern. Unless I wanted to, and like, I could do it, but go down a lot of sizes. But again, it's warm. Like, it's really warm. I know I was warned about this. I don't know if I want a very close fitting knitted in thing, because I want to be able to give myself some air if I'm hot. But I did say last week, like, maybe I want to do something held double. I could, but I do think it would be an overcoat. Like, Ursula was right. I mean, I should believe my yarn friends who use all of these, like, use this frequently, but I mean, I could still probably wear that inside on a cold day, but, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. I'm not going to probably use any knitted in for the rest of this year, but who knows what I'll fancy casting on in January. Okay, so let's hop to my other finished thing this week, which is a spin. I don't have a new spin on, so I don't have anything else to talk about spinning wise, but I do have something gorgeous. Last week I showed you how I split up in sort of a crazy fashion this vintage Christmas skein, which is some fiber that a bunch of my friends are doing Christmas socks with. And so I wanted to jump in and do this also. I am doing, I ended up doing a 3-ply, a chain ply for this. And this is all created by LCB. It is called Vintage Christmas. This is a Polworth and silk blend, which I talked about last week. The silk super blended throughout and super nice. And here's my finished little baby. You're correct if you're looking at that and being like, that's not a fingering weight chain ply. You're right. It's not. But it's really close to like a heavy sport. So I might just make some DK socks with this, which for Christmas socks around my house is perfect, because I'm gonna be fine if I don't have these put in shoes. I tend to wear most of my knit socks just at home anyway. I have 2 or 3 pairs, maybe like 3 pairs that I will wear in like sneakers, because they just like fit better. Socks are a journey for fit, y'all. It is like, you measure your foot and then that's not actually accurate, or there's too much give in certain fabric, or like just there's so many different things that can factor into your socks fitting well inside of shoes. As house socks, many socks will do the deed. So a DK weight pair would be great. Also, then I'll actually be able to knit them up pretty quickly, so that's fantastic. I'm overall pretty happy with this. The repeats are relatively short. I don't know how short, but like, I mean, I probably will only, they will be rapid. They will be pretty rapid, like maybe 2 to 3 rounds, maybe less, honestly. I have no idea. So I will see what happens with that, and see how everyone else's knits up. Ariel's doing a chain ply as well, and she did similar, although she did not break her red up. So she will have like I have 2 repeats of red and she will have 1. And so we'll see how much that dramatically changes like the look of the chain ply, or like, you know, of the repeats. And then Emily did a fractal spin, and I think Maya did as well, and I think that's what Katie was planning. So we'll see, like, it's gonna look very different, all of our socks. Which is fun, but it's all created from the same colorway. And Emily and Maya had a Targi bamboo silk blend, I think, as their fiber. So a little bit different because they ordered it earlier in the year. Here it is. I guess I can show you this too. So like, this also is like very newly dried. So let's see. Like, you can't really tell. You can tell. I mean, it's hard to tell until it's like wound up into a cake, really, how quick the repeat looks like it's changing. But overall, the chain is pretty good. The tension, like my plying tension is pretty even, not exactly the same throughout. I got into the flow of the chain ply much faster because I did chain ply not super long time ago. Like, I think I did with like the end of something. Chain plying is hard. And I know there are people that's their default and they're like, it's not hard. But like getting your hands to do that well is absolutely a skill. And I can crochet, so I understand how to make a chain. It's just that it's not that intuitive, like where your hands should be, until you really just start doing it for a bit. But and I feel like I have a harder time telling exactly how much twist I have. Like by the time I pull through, I had a lot more. I did this slower, and I did it on my slowest whirl on the Ladybug, and it's still like, it's quite twisted. So think of that. Remember that. Like, I had to really slow myself down for this, and normally I'd like rapid ply as fast as I can. I do it on like the fastest whirl I have. So it was a different experience over here. But I think this is like super fluffy and nice, and like the density is really nice. It doesn't look super shiny from the silk. There's a little bit of sheen, but it washed nice, it thwacked nice. And so I'm excited to cast this on my friends. It does look so Christmas though. Like, I think it's the red, the green, the gold, right? Like, this is actually a lot of the colors of a couple of trees in my house. So, and I did say a couple of trees in my house. If you have not been with me for holiday season before, I do put up several Christmas trees, because I like holiday cheer. So let's talk through the whips section. You thought it was teal last week. It's ultra teal this week. Yes, I am in my teal phase. I think it's great fun to be knitting in a color phase right now, actually, because none of these are making me, like, these are all just making me so happy, every single one of these whips. I'll show you 2 non-teal things first, though, my squares projects. So I washed 2, and not this last one, which I finished last night. So this is a Tiger Lily and Palmetto. That's the colors for these 2. And then we've got, I can't remember the tan is called, but the black is called Seal. And then we've got, again, Palmetto and Seal. So I'm in my last, I have 7 colors. I'm in my last going through all 7 colors, and then I'll have 1 more that I get to pick from those. Still no color repeats. There'll be no repeated squares throughout my whole thing. And in fact, I have 2 color combos that are not going to show up at all, I don't think. I could choose to do one of those as my last square, but I've got this color and that old rose color. Here, where is it? I can show you them. They're right here. I have like this pinky color and this orange color are not going to be together in a square. And then this palmetto and this blue are not going to be together in a square. Just, there's almost like the quality of change in color of those is way too close. Like this is pretty close, but this is way too close. So the two of those are the two that I picked not to show up. Then I've got like 3 others I could pick from that would like have not been a repeat, but be a repeat, you know, the other way. That's the information I have for you this week. So I have very few left, 5 left to do, and then I am going to be done. I don't think I'll finish all 5 this week, though one could surprise, I mean, I say this like, oh, what if I just did so many? Okay, it's not going to happen. Really unlikely. But I am going to finish them before December 1st. So I have, it's the 21st to today. It's the 21st of November today. I will film again. Maybe on the 27th. I don't think I'll film on Thursday because I'm going to be busy. It's United States Thanksgiving and I am hosting, and so we'll have family and things over. I am going to take Wednesday off of work though, to get some cleaning done and prep some things, do dessert, that kind of thing. So I might film that day. That's probably what will happen. If I don't, then I'll film on Friday and post on Friday because I also have that. That's an actual holiday at my work. I don't know. It will be more free then, but I may just want a knitting day, so you may not get me. Though I will. I may not actually edit until like late Thanksgiving evening. So who knows? Sometime next week you'll see an episode, but I will film, I think this weekend, my square color work. And I'm not going to film like making the whole thing, obviously, but I will film like doing the backside. So probably talk through what I do on the row across and then what I do on the backside. And it'll be a very short video, just so I can talk through a little bit. Like I might actually do 2 backside rows because I do a different thing depending on where I am in the pattern, slightly different. And so you could have that as a template since there are not a lot of flat color work videos out there. And that is all I have to say about that. So let's go on to my culmination squares, and I'm very pathetically only have 1 done. I don't even have another one started, but I really need to. This is a fun one because I've got a little gradient going here. You can see it. So I started on this side with the leftover DK weight. This is a bunch of colors. Sorry, this is a pattern by Lindsay Fowler. It's called the Culmination Blanket. It is a blanket made up of squares that you make from scrap yarn or whatever yarn you want to use, in a plethora of weights to get essentially something like pretty close to like a bulky, super bulky. This one is made with like I have no idea. I think it's a worsted weight from Backloop Yarn Co. And it's like an orange, just a plain tonal orange. I've got maybe a color from, I think it's from the Sock Squad last year. I have one of the minis from Sock Squad last year too that was just a tonal orange, and then a Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. And then I've got this DK weight from the Root Cellar socks from Carly Perrins. I made them with, that was like my base color, and it was like a very fall brownie orange color. So that's why it's a little bit darker up here. And then I ran out of that, and I was like, well, what else do I have that's got like orangey things that's approximately DK? I actually had a worsted that was pretty thin feeling, though it's like a very worsted weight, like yarn numbers, I don't know, from Stella Fibers. Hello, Stella. Anyway, so that, but I had used that in a couple other squares and that was done. So I finished that. I moved right on to an orange one, and I used another color from Backloop Yarn Co. in her like worsted base. That is like one I used in other squares. It's like just very orangey tonal, or orange variegated. So we've got a traveling orange one, which is fine. This is, the idea is like falling leaves and also just using scrap yarn, so no one's mad about that. Though I will have more ends to weave in for this one. It's the only one that's washed. It's the only one I completed this week. I have other yarn picked out. Like I've picked a couple of combos, and I did that the other day, and I kind of sorted through my craziness that happened. Like I put all this yarn in a bin, and I've had a lot of yarn ends getting tangled. So I did that. But I just didn't cast another one on. And I don't want to say I'm overdoing these squares, but I do think like having one this week was in the last actually 2 weeks, I think I only had one each week. And that one was even started last week. So honestly, so few. It's been good. I'm going to reset and recenter and just try to get some of those done this week, because I also want these to be done like within the first week of December, so that I can, and like fully blocked everything, so I can just zoom put them together, and that this blanket is done at least a full week before Christmas, so I can like take some pictures and do whatever. This is for my mom, and also to keep this like kind of secret from her. I mean, she's seen some of them. She just has no idea what they're for. I mean, I think I told her it's for a blanket, but I didn't tell her it was for her. Anywho, that's that. So let's go on to the teal knits. I'm not going to talk about my Birch or my Traveler, because again, I didn't work on them. So at this point, they're sort of languishing whips, though I wrote out some of my yarn plans already for this coming week, and I will get the Traveler back on, or the Birch. Like I will pick one of them to do some major work on this week. And by major, I mean like not crazy major, but to get some progress in. I might choose the Birch just because that was on my Make 12, and also that one got cast on first, but we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling, because the Traveler will take less thought. So let's share progress on my Avenue vest, which is a test knit for Tori Yu, who is Tori Knits NYC. As you know, I like her patterns, and I like testing for her. She is one of those designers that does no test communication. She has like no communication channel, which I don't dislike. Also because I have like 5 other friends and a couple of you guys who watch who are doing this. And I've communicated with, well, we have a little chat, Instagram chat, just my 5 friends who are in this. And then I've, heard from some others that are like, hey, doing this too. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying it. But I am doing the V neck view of it. I have just, the last thing I did was the neckline. It is just flipping a little bit, which I think Serena, hers is already done. She said that she was having the same thing. Like hers was just, like the front was flipping a little bit, like you can see. So, but when she blocked it, it was fine. And I fully believe that this will sit fine. These are kind of interesting edgings, so I want to talk about those. But this is supposed to be a size 5. It is supposed to be 50 inches. I am using Shibui Silk Cloud in the color Lagoon, which is a 60/40 mohair silk blend. It's 330 yards for 25 grams, so it's a pretty light mohair. And then I'm using Horizon Fibers Cumulus DK in the color Borealis, which is which you can still get on her website also if you really love this color. It is a DK weight, 246 yards for 100 grams, 85/15 superwash merino nylon. Okay, I'm loving it. I think the armholes, and I said this before, are a little deep. Like I knew it would pull in with the shoulder line, but actually, like, I don't know. I think it's gonna sit fine on me. I think that's like approximately what will happen. So like I would not probably ever wear this as just a shirt, but like I probably would not be showing bra underneath. So like fine. I'll be wearing this with a shirt, rest assured. But this is my marker here for where I was in the body. So I only did about 1 inch in the body, but I did all the edgings, and they took a while, not like a super long time. And the math for this was very easy. So I did count first. It's like sometimes you really just you can go the extra effort, and sometimes you can't. But I counted both the front and the back. And then, subtracted my cast on underarm stitches, and then just made sure I could easily do math for, what I needed to pick up. For me, it ended up being 4 out of every 5 stitches. And then for the neckline, I had to pick up slightly more stitches, and I think it ended up being almost all of the stitches. I think I did like 12 out of 13 or something for the, or like 13 out of 14 maybe for the edges. So nearly all of the edge stitches. And then I struggled a little bit, and this was a little bit like, I think somebody did make this note. This was the only struggle with this, was that how you cast on the back panel is that you cast on these stitches as well. And so I had to pick up these two, fine, but there is like an edge stitch that ends up being like kind of hidden because of where you pick up. And so I ended up actually picking up this, you know, all stitches across, and then this little gap here, which I think looks fine. And it doesn't like make it weird and gappy or anything. And so I'm happy with how the pickup looks in the back of the neck. And then this, so what's interesting about the edges is that you're doing a 1x1 rib, but then you do a row of knit, and then you bind off knit, and it just creates sort of like a more intentional looking, you know, like it's not a seamless bind off, right? Like it is an intentional edge, which I actually kind of really like for this. Like it looks really nice, and it looks structured. And so the same thing for this. And then I think she does a different thing than I've done for many of my V-necks. And I've done this before once, I think. But essentially you are doing a bind off and keeping the knit, just a knit stitch throughout. I did one different thing because I didn't like, it flattened us out a little bit too much for me when I just bound off all of these stitches. So for my last stitch here is I did a central double decrease and then bound that off. And that, so it doesn't really change anything. It just tightens up this last bind off right here. So that was my one change from pattern, and I'll make a note of that in Ravelry and also tell Tori. And that was just like a personal preference for how my bind off looks. I did all of my bind offs with crochet hook because I do that most of the time. And it's just so much faster. And to me is the more even bind off. Anyway, so that's all. That's where we are for that. I really, really love it. I love the color so far. I love everything about it. I rejoined because like I had stopped when I finished mohair. Then I did all the edges with my mohair ball and my third ball of Cumulus DK. I'm still on my second ball for the body. I will probably break into that third again for like the hem. But like, I don't know that I'll use all of it though. I'm like pretty close on yardage, so I could. It's hard to tell at this point. But I don't have a lot of body done, so I've got quite a ways to go. Though I'm hoping to be done with this one this week. I think I said that last week, but really this one was the mad rush. So I have to be done with this before December 12th, but I want to take pictures and stuff. So this would be a good one to have done by Thanksgiving. It's not like I need this for Thanksgiving knit, but who knows? Maybe I will wear it. Let's talk about another bluey teal knit. This one's more blue than teal. But here is my progress on my Northwoods V Neck. This is going to look a little odd because I have my back stitches are joined in the round, not like not really, but like physically with, I tend to do this. I don't know what other people do. I do have stoppers for my ChowGoo needles, like, but I only have like one set of them or something, maybe two sets. So I tend to just use a light bulb stitch marker, which I have thousands of. Seriously. Well, I have hundreds. I have hundreds of them. Even though I lose them all the time. I just do this, and then they're joined, and then they can't come apart, and also the stitches can't fall off of it. So it's just like an easy way to do that. It does sometimes create like a little bit of an odd like bloop that you're working with or whatever, but it just depends on how heavy the thing is. So I finished the back panel. And I was, look how cute this sheepy is. This is from Denim and Rain. But I was here. So, I mean, I had just finished this short rows and maybe like 2 or 3 rows. And then I just did straight knitting on the back. I did a lot of that while editing last week. And then I just picked it up like Monday to get some more done. And I'm obsessed with how this color is coming out. Like this one is making me, I feel like Katie. So Katie in my knit group will often during knit night, she loves knit fabric, and I love that about her, that she just really gets obsessed with like the look of her knits as she's knitting them. So she'll like often do a couple rows, and then you just see her at knit night. She just puts it on her lap or on the couch next to her, wherever we are, and she just lays it out and she admires it. And that's what I've been doing with this. I'm like, oh man, I'm pulling a Katie. But it's so pretty, and so I love making a beautiful fabric. The boucle is just like, it's really a variegated boucle. I was excited, but I am floored with the results. And Ariel and I were looking at this actually. It's really beautiful on the pearl side as well. It definitely looks different. Like you get a really different color, you know, like quality, and just like the way that the repeats are. But there are some Andrea Mowry patterns that are like flipped inside out that I feel like this would be really, really pretty on. So if I see a future variegated boucle I love the colors of, I would do it again. Okay, and then I picked up the right shoulder, and I have done maybe half-ish of the increases along the neckline, and then I have some more. Then you stop, you do the other side, and then you join, and then you do to the back length, I think. So like it's not, this is a pretty deep V-neck, but it's not like the whole entire, well, I guess it's probably pretty close to the entire back, but not exactly. So, yeah. Then I will join in the round. So hopefully I'll get to join in the round next week. That would be like a good place to be without like really killing myself to get it done. Like, I mean, it's a bit of knitting, but like this part goes much faster, these short rows, even if there's a lot of them, even if you have to do it twice. To me, that goes pretty quickly. I'm still helically knitting. I'm going to helically knit this entire thing. That was really easy to do for the back panel because other than the very top short rows, you just knitting across, right? So I just switched on one side, doing that, also switching on the outside so it'll get absorbed by the armpit, or, you know, the arm pickups. I'll do it also on this side, so I'll switch on the purl, not the knit, to keep it on the outside for this side. Then I'll join in the round, all of these fun things. I'll start actually helically knitting after that, which is fine. So far, really enjoying. This knit is pretty fine and easy, and I just am obsessed with the fabric. It's so nice. By the way, this is a pattern by Jessie May, who is Jessie May on Instagram, also Jessie Made Designs. And it is a top-down drop shoulder V-neck. I'm making size 5, which is a 52-inch bust. The recommended ease is 6 to 8 inches, and I am using a 3.5 millimeter needle. It is recommended 3.75, so like I'm not super far off, but it is just a regular DK usually. The boucle requires a little extra. I am off of my row gauge by about 2 rows for 4 inches-ish. So I only added a couple extra rows to the back to get to the 8 inches, and I'll only have to do that, like, my neckline will be just slightly less deep because of that, but I don't think I'll do anything differently. Like, I don't think I'll add any rows because I think I like the rate of increase, so it's fine. And then this is Long Dog Yarn Boucle DK and Battle of Helm's Deep. It's 250 yards for 100 grams. It's 100% superwash merino. And I'm getting ready very shortly to cast on my other one collection, like Lord of the Rings inspired yarn from Brandy, from this same when I bought this yarn. And that is going to be a Stripes by Andrea Mowry. And I'm going to cast it on hopefully Thanksgiving weekend. And that is when I will start my reread. So I have 2 things to accomplish before then. One is finish up the next thing I'm going to show you, which is a new cast on. And number 2 is that I would like to finish reading Wheel of Time. So these are 2 really big asks, and I have a week and a little bit to get them done. And so we'll see. But those are plans. You know, I just make plans in my head sometimes. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is a new cast on. And it's also teal. And it's also the most beautiful thing. And I am fully obsessed with it. So I cast this on Saturday. I would like to talk to you about the yarn first, and then I'll show you what I did. So I got this yarn last year from Pasley Knits New Zealand collection. And when Coley was making this sample for herself, I fully slid into her DMs and I was like, wow, I'm obsessed. Can I have some more details? And also, can I buy that exact yarn and make this exact same sweater? So she and I chatted through some things, and I really think the only thing is that you have to change your needle size for the gauge, just because, like, she did the same thing. Like, I went up the same number of needles, and I think that with a slightly actually denser, thicker yarn, you wouldn't need to for the pattern. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is her cloud base. Okay. It is 70% baby alpaca, 7% merino wool, 23% nylon, 284 yards per 100 grams. But this is actually categorized not as a DK, but as a bulky weight yarn because it's incredibly floofy. It is a chainette yarn that has just the most floof ever next to it. So like you can kind of see the chain, but you almost can't because it's so floofy. When I first started knitting with this, I was just finishing up this as well. And I was like being very precious about like my cast on. And I was like, wait a second, this is like normal yarn. Like it's not going to break if I go like this. Like, I mean, you probably don't want to tear at it too much because this is alpaca and it is like rather soft and nice and floofy, but like I wasn't going to just rip it by pulling it out of the cake or whatever. So here it is in skein format. Here it is caked up. So floofy, so nice feeling. Like it's just got the most squishy factor. And this color is called Milford Sound. Which is definitely dyes lighter on this base. Like just the floof factor, I think, really is like spreads the dye differently. It is a tonal, but there is a little bit of variation in the color. And what did Coley make with hers? She made a Dornie, and that is a pattern by Rebecca Clow, who's the Crayabea, and I had this already in my queue, and I really had dreamed of doing this in like a pretty rustic-y yarn. That was like my original dream. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, absolutely not. I 100,000% need this to be in this cloud yarn. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, it's so precious. Look at it. Oh, it looks so good on camera. It's picking up the cables just perfectly. Well, let's just say what this is. This is supposed to be an Aran weight, cable knit top down sweater. There is some short row shaping, which happens, gosh, I flew by that part so fast. So you flatten it in the beginning and then you do some increases, which is kind of what creates, you get some, so like of these elongated pieces before cables are cast on. And then like right here, then you just, cast on like a bunch of stitches across the front and join in the round. And you like move your marker over so that you're not like joined in the round here, as you're beginning a round. And so I don't know where to, over here or something. So, just, it was a great joy I cast it on and I did not join in the round the first night. And then Sunday I joined in the round and I just went crazy. It was just so like, it's kind of meditative, even though yes, it's cables, but there are two different rib, dimensions or whatever. There's like this wider rib section. And then between the two opposing cable sets, like there's just a little one. And yeah, I don't know. There's like something about it. Like, because I did some complicated cables recently, like this just felt really soothing and very easy. And there's like, these are rather large cable, twists, like between rows between twists. It's not like every 4, I think it's every 8. So it's like very, very much mostly an easy knit. Even those cable rows do not tend to take a ton of time. So then you do some raglan increases, and you can see the raglan line is just sort of a couple extra knit stitches. There's so much winter hair on this, you know, as with everything. And then I split for sleeves. I did that last night. I like ended right before the split for sleeves. We lost power on Tuesday night, and it was right at baby bedtime, like 1 minute before she was in bed. This was actually good. I'm glad we were in the room because we kind of talked about like, there's no power right now. you know, we'll check to make sure it doesn't get too cold in your room. It was like not that cold out. Like it was fine. It was just really windy. We had high winds and we had a bunch of trees that were down all over. They're still down. There's like tons of people, I think, especially in like Snohomish County, which is just above us, that don't have power still. We went up just overnight because we're also right above two schools. And so I think they try to get our neighborhood back on the grid early to make sure kids can go to school and they don't want to miss any extra days. So I did a lot of this by candlelight, camp light, and a neck light. I felt pretty well lit, and this is one of the lighter yarns I'm knitting with, so I just felt like I was gonna, I finished the back panel also while the light was out, and I like measured it, and I was really close. I was like, oh, okay, then I was like, I cannot possibly pick up sleeves. Even with the light directly on this, like I'm gonna like need overhead light and the light directly on this to do that. So I skipped to just knitting this, and I had a blast. I will say I'm doing something fun while I'm knitting this also, in that I'm reading only Irish inspired romances, and they're like modern romances. I haven't gone back to any historical ones. The Dornie pattern, no, Rebecca is not Irish, but she, I think she said somewhere on her podcast, or maybe it's even in the pattern, this was inspired by a trip to Ireland. And so I decided I would jump on that as my inspiration and also only listen to people that have Irish accents while making this. So yeah, I've read 2 books to get to this. I read at rapid speed. These are short romance books, so it's not like it was actually that many hours. I need another one, so I'm gonna pick another one tonight, and that's when I'll continue. But I love it. I did go up a needle size, so I went up to a 5mm needles. I picked size 5, which is 46 inches. The recommended ease is 0.5 inches to 4 inches. So almost no ease is okay. But she did put a note in here that like from her testers, if there is a larger difference between your upper bust and your bust, to go down a size so that you have some negative ease over your bust. So I decided I didn't want to go down all the way to the 42 because that'd be too much negative ease. But the 46 was just a tiny bit, and then it won't be like, I won't have a weird armpit gap. And I think that's what is like a little bit of the worry with a raglan and with with the raglan cables. So it's looking, I feel like it looks a little bit small, but I'm pretty on for gauge. So I think it's going to be fine. And then, yeah, and that's where I am. And I am obsessed. Can I finish this by next weekend? I don't know, maybe that's too ambitious, but I have faith in myself. And I really can't. It's like a potato chip knit. Like I can't put it down. I get to the next cable. I'm like, oh, let me just do one more. Oh, well then I'm on all the straight rows. So let me just do one more. I think the sleeves will go really, really fast. So my intention is probably, I have 5 full balls of this yarn. So hopefully I will be able to do the whole pattern. But I mean, this was one and just a tiny bit. So like I feel like I'll be fine. So my plan will be first to finish the ball of yarn I have, which is quite a lot to get a lot of body done. Once I'm done with that, I will go to the collar with the next ball of yarn, and then I will do sleeve 1. Then I will try it on and see how I feel before I get to cuff. Then I'll do sleeve 2, finish cuffs, and then finish body. And so, I mean, that's my normal knitting plans. But I do think like I might be able to finish this whole ball of yarn by Friday, do a sleeve over the weekend, do another sleeve early next week, and then finish out. Like I may not be done by next episode, but finish out over next weekend. So I believe it's my Irish wish. Okay. And yes, I did watch that Lindsay Lohan new movie on Netflix, not while knitting this, which is a bit of a miss because that movie was ridiculous. I will watch anything Lindsay Lohan puts out just because I can't not. Okay, so here is my next new cast on, which is also Teal Get Out of Town. I told you I was deeply in my Teal era. And while watching last week's episode and hearing me say that, Ariel messaged me and said, I dyed you teal yarn. So here's what happened. I may have shown this yarn like a long time ago on the podcast, and I have a picture of it, which I will pop up here. This yarn is fully like just yellower than my skin tone, and it's horrifying. Like cannot wear this on my body. The color itself is dyed fine. I just like, I picked this for myself and cannot wear it. This is from a Halloween color. I mean, the color is even called Mummy. Like, guys, what was I thinking? I have no idea. I picked this out like 2.5, 3 years ago from Erin at Backloop Yarn Co. Cannot wear that color. So, and I had 6 full skeins of it. Like, help me, please send help. So I asked Ariel if she would over dye it for me, and she is an angel, and she said yes. And I told her pick any jewel tone. She could do whatever she wants. I don't care. Whatever she had in her dyes that she felt comfortable with, that she thought would go well, whatever. And so after watching that episode, she was like, I dyed you teal yarn. And I said, yes, I can't wait. I want another teal knit. So here is the teal yarn. This is an amazing color. Like, this is darker than my Avenue vest, not by a ton, but it is darker. It's a slightly greener also, and it's so pretty. Like, this color is unreal. So I went to Knit Light this past week, and it was just me and Ariel. So I went to her house and I picked up this yarn. Not a reason I went, but I was like, hey, this is an advantage of going. It was still wet at her house, so I dried the rest of the way here, and I have wound up a couple skeins so I could start my knit with it. And what, you ask, is this knit? This is a test knit I don't even think I've told you guys I'm in, which is the Alchemy Pullover for Knit California. So I am on the back panel. I don't have a ton of it done. I've got over half of the increases done. So this is a little top back section. Then I will have to knit flat, right? So I've got a few more to go. I am making a size 5, which is 54 inches. Recommended ease is 9 inches. So for me, that's not quite. But the other size was like too big. So, 9 inches or whatever you want. I am using the 4.5 millimeter needles, which is what's recommended. And I'm on gauge. I am maybe slightly under gauge. No, I am maybe slightly over gauge for row gauge. And like in that, I think the row gauge is supposed to be 30 and I think I'm 29. So like I'm really close. Row gauge is, just hopes and dreams anyway. So here it is. You can kind of see this is very interesting. I don't know why, but I do feel like I'm getting that slightly like unbalanced yarn look to my knit. It's more visible in person, I think, but like if I'm looking at it, as I'm knitting, the right leg is a little tighter than my left leg, or sorry, the left leg is a little tighter than my right leg on my knit stitch if I'm looking at it. That happens more with unbalanced yarns. This is just like her regular DK base. I don't know if I've noticed it before, but I think this one, like if I stretch it even a little bit, and like, so I think if I block it, like I think that sensation will block out more so than like in my Rocky's DK knits. You can see though, as I get closer to the camera, like this, it's like the camera blows out the color so much. So like maybe right here is about how deep it really is. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. I fully cannot wait to have this as a sweater. Like I'm super obsessed. You can still see the detail. And this is like the big detail is like, this is really just a drop shoulder stockinette knit. There's not a lot to this, other than this slip stitch detail that occurs all the way down the back shoulder and then around the armholes and down the sides. And so I'm very excited for that. Like, it's just a little detail, and like overall just have the most beautiful teal knit. Like, okay, I know I've talked about this 100 times. This is not in my color palette, everybody. And you can tell because I look okay in it. It's a fine color and I will wear it, but this is in my color palette. And like, you can just tell, and maybe I'm just like, I've just really fed into this, but like, like I feel like this next to my skin tone and color, like makes my face look brighter without makeup or trying. And this doesn't do tons of favors. Like I need a little bit of makeup. I mean, and I am wearing makeup right now, so you can tell it's more apparent when I'm not. but this like contrast actually looks really great with my skin and just like brightens me up a little bit. Anyway, I don't care if you think it's true or not. I'm a firm believer. So here we are. Okay, let's talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to give it's a stockinette knit. There's not much to give away in the knit. It's a drop shoulder. It functions like most other drop shoulders. This little panel is like the edge detail stitch, edge stitch detail, whatever she calls it, is like the biggest thing that's different. But one thing I will note here, and I have an opinion. Okay, so I am doing the pattern as written, and you can see here, and in this pattern, I am increasing every row in this back stitch. So you start with not a lot of stitches here. Like, it will make the back neckline fit really well. But increasing every row, I'm going to have a knitting opinion here. And my knitting opinion is that I should see all of the increase legs on the same side. So they should all be on the back or all on the front. And I guess that is your choice if you want them on the front or the back, as the designer. But what Leslie's decided to do is alternate. So you can see that I have some legs pulling in the back and some that sit in the front. And so it kind of looks like the increases are every other row a little bit, but like you can see what's going on there. In the way that this will block, because the stitch right next to it, and this is really only very apparent because the stitch right next to it is a twisted knit stitch. So it's like lifting these up because of the way that it's twisting. Do you see that? Okay, it's happening on both shoulder sides, so this is not it's not a one shoulder problem. You can see it on both sides, though I think it's a little bit more apparent for me on what's going to be my left shoulder, just because of that, the way that the leg is twisted on the knit stitch. My knitting opinion is that this is incorrect. If you were just like, as generally speaking, this is not correct. And so what is happening is, like, if let's just say I increase right leg, I do a make one right on one side and a make one left, finish the row. She has written the pattern then to go back and a make one right on the purl side and a make one left. So you're doing the alternate thing. If you read like most other designer patterns, if you do a right and then a left, when you turn around, you do a left and then a right. And that will make all of your legs face the same way. That's just how it works. Even though it seems kind of counterintuitive, it's because you go into your stitch in a different way for both of those knits, like for the make one right, left, or purl side or right side. You can see it on the back side even too, that like on the back side, I have alternating legs lifted in the front. So knitting wise, I think this is incorrect. As a design feature, and because of having this this twisted stitch here, and the way that like Leslie blocked hers, let me just pull it a little bit. I actually like this better because someone on the test knit was like, first brought this up, and this is before I cast on a couple weeks ago, and was like, this is not right. And Leslie said it was correct. And I wish she had just said, this is a design feature. And hopefully in the pattern, she just notes it as a design feature, because I think as a design feature, I like it, because the person who did all of her lifted in, or like all of her legs on the same side, this feels more busy pulling, like, and how it's going to block. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I like the look of this blocked in the sort of like less legs in the front look. I like that look for when it blocks. Okay. So as a design feature, I think it's okay. As a knitting pattern, I think that's generally incorrect. And so for me, it's like, it took a minute because I was like, just intuitively wanted to do the correct way. But it's fine. It's fine. It's not going to be a big deal. It's only happening on the back panel. And also then it's only happening on the back panel to get that, but you just wouldn't get, the kind of, that kind of same line, even with the twisted stitch next to it on regular flat stockinette knitting. One thing she could have done to alleviate this maybe is to do just one regular knit stitch next to it and then do the increases. But I do think you might get like a weird, like that might have been like a weird puckery line then. So I think that this is fine and it's okay. And I don't dislike it. I just think it's a design choice. It's not the correct way to knit that particular type of increase. That is my knitting opinion. I'm allowed to have it. I will knit this to pattern and it will be fine. And I will really like it. I'm just letting you know. I am aware. And you aren't going to find things written like that for the most part otherwise. Okay. But that's where I am. I'm not super far. I really hope, like I have until January, mid-January, end of January to finish this. I would like to finish it by the end of the year, but I'm not also going to, you know, go crazy. I do think I would like to have the back panel done in the next couple of weeks. This week I will definitely finish the increases, and then if I finish the back panel, great. If I join in the round mid-December, that's great. Like I'm not really worried about it timeline-wise. It's knitting pretty fast, but it's like at the same gauge or very close to the Field Day cardigan, and that is like a little bit of a, it's not like a tighter DK gauge, but I guess I'm not in the fingering weight mode right now. So I feel that this is a dense fabric a little bit, but it's not actually, like it's very normal. So that is superwash merino yarn. It's 231 yards for 100 grams regular DK weight. And I don't know what to call it. It's originally Back Loop Yarn Co., but let's call it an Airy Knits over dye. And in the colorway Totally Teal. No, I have no idea. It does not have a name. So it is like very yummy, deep teal. I fully obsessed with that color. I like cannot. It's maybe the most deep teal thing I'll have in my wardrobe. Like that's all that color, because it's not, let's see. Let's compare here. Yeah. Oh, it's way greener than River Anduin. Yeah, I don't know. It's just really different. It's a nice addition to my many teal knits. Okay, let's go on to acquisitions. So I have one that's a gift that I'd like to talk about just because this was so sweet. So I got a little early birthday present in the mail from one of our fabulous watchers, Valerie, and she sent a couple of fun things. One of them is this hand spun by Sadie's Spinning. So this is like a fiber person I have not had any encounters with yet. This is Hanoi stone. It's 22 micron and it's 100 grams. And let me pull it out so you can see it. It's just a real, oh, it's so epically soft. Oh, it's really, really soft. So it's just a really soft, it says stone. It's like a really, here's a little VM here. It's like a really, like light gray brown. I mean, it is. It's like stone. It's like a kind of like patio pavers sort of like colorway. It's really nice. It's really fluffy, like so soft. 22 microns. I would like, it feels as soft as any super fine merino that I've spun. Way, way nice. And so I will add this to the collection. Thank you, Valerie. I love it. I don't know when I'll use it, but I actually really like this color for something I have in my mind. Okay, that's a good future thing. Okay, she also gave me a little Notions pouch and a little True Love from Lime Life by Alcone. She is our little rep over there, and is a mini perfect lip gloss and a mini enduring lip color. And it's like a really nice, actually this would have been a nice one to wear with this outfit today. That's actually kind of perfect for this outfit. I just didn't open it yet, so I didn't do it, but that's beautiful. And this little Notions pouch. And then this Scentsy is gonna be Theo's, and she also sent something for winter, so really the whole house got presents. But this is like a little buddy clip, and these are really cute. It's a little reindeer. It's so cute. It's a little reindeer and it smells. I mean, it smells really nice. It smells like Cherry's Jubilee. And it's like supposed to just be like a little calming thing. And I can totally, I mean, I could keep it, but I'm going to give it to her as something that maybe goes also in the car because she likes to play with things that are attached to her car seat still. So thank you. That is very nice. Okay. I did get one other thing in the mail, and this is another one I can't really share yet, but I will share what I can share. So this was my first year of buying any kind of advent things, and I bought two, and I bought two separate ones. So last week I showed you the Fiber Fox, which I'm so excited for. That's a traditional advent, 24 days of colors of minis. This is a Wool Gatherers. So this is Explore Knits and Fibers, and I got the whole kit and caboodle. So I got the tonals, the variegateds, and the day box. So I'll start opening them November 30th. So not next episode, but I'll show it to you the episode after. And I believe I'll open 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, because I have 8 colors. And then the day box I'll open with 7 and 8. So this one is the day box, and this is where my extra goodies are, but I'll just show you, like, this is what all of the boxes look like. Well, this is what the day box looks like because it doesn't have a number on it. But my other ones, like this is, just happens to be 5. Okay, so they have the number on them. It does not actually cover up, like I could open it right now, but I'm not going to. And it's got the cute little picture on it. I will say I'm not the only one in the knit group that got this. A couple other people got it. Everyone else has looked at theirs and not me. And I got the answer of it's a 10 out of 10. So everybody's really pleased with the colors, which is great. And this is just like a really nice little pamphlet. It tells you what to open when. On the first, like on each week, you can also open like a deeper dive of the explanation. And it tells you, like, I think this would be week by week. Like the first variegated is called Nature's Reverie, right? So each of them I think has like a thing like this. So we'll see. But it's wool gathering. I'm so excited. I have decided I am going to wait, and I am going to open them each week. I'm not going to open them ahead of time. I definitely won't show you either way ahead of time, so you'll have to wait. But I don't think I'll crack. I think I will keep them also because I did get I literally took a 2-second peek at them. Somebody else's that are open. So I can't even remember the colors in it. I could not tell you, other than the fact that I did like them. 10 out of 10. That's what we know. So I'm really excited for that one. So I can't tell you anything, can't show you anything, but I like it so far. I like the packaging and I'm really excited to do it. Okay, so this week I read A Rain of Rose, which is the third in the Sacred Stone books by Kate Golden. It's the conclusion. I didn't know. It was like pretty far into this last week, and I was really unconvinced that she would get there, that she would get to a conclusion that was not really dumb. Mostly just because she had like teaser things that happened throughout this third book. Like, you almost got the bad guy. You almost got the bad guy again. And I was like, oh, geez, are we just not going to get the bad guy? Like, I mean, that could happen. But the conclusion was satisfactory. It was not maybe my very favorite thing, but it was fine. It was not like she didn't just kill a bunch of people off. Like it generally made sense. Though, like, the cadence of this, again, I think I've said this before, these books are okay. They don't explore enough of the magic system. She's got some interesting things that she's like talked about with the magic system, but like, I don't think she fleshes out the rules enough that I like really understand why those things are happening. But there are fae, and then there are half fae that have some powers, and there are just a couple other things that happen. Like, some of them it's fine. What I did appreciate is that she didn't keep our heroes apart from each other the whole time, like, because they were separated, and it was like an angsty beginning, but like, it was not like, oh my gosh, the very end they come together and then things happen. I appreciated that she brought them together to solve this problem. But yeah, that was a little problematic, the magic system. I also think the pacing, this is a little bit problematic. and not in a bad way, but I think like she could lose you a couple places, just like slows too far down, or it gets too rapid and crazy where you're like, what in the heck is happening? But I then was reading, my 2 Irish books that I finished were Love at First Book, which is by Jenn McKinlay, and it was fabulous. It was so, so good. It's about a librarian who goes to work as a personal assistant to her favorite author who never finished the last book in the series that she grew up loving. It's not supposed to be Harry Potter. They actually talk about Harry Potter in this, but like imagine a Harry Potter adjacent phenomenon that happened, where 9 out of 10 books were written, and the last book that was written leaves the hero in a state of limbo, and like you just really don't know what's going to happen. And she essentially gets writer's block. There were other things that happened to give her that, and it's so heartfelt. Also, then of course, the writer has a grown son who runs a bookshop where the author is like trying to work out of, but hasn't done any work in 10 years. And the personal assistant finally like is helping her to get her last book published. And obviously grumpy bookshop owning son and personal assistant become embroiled, and it's so good. I cried, I laughed. I did actually cry in this one. Some like ugly tears because it was good. Okay, and then I read this other book, which actually is the 3rd of a series. I don't know if I'll go back and read the other 2 right now, but because I'm on an Irish modern romance mission, one of the other ones definitely has another Irish character in it, but I want to be in Ireland. So I'm being very specific. But this one mostly happens in Ireland, and it's called Off the Map. This series is by Trish Dollar. This one focuses on Carla and Eamon, and they are going to actually characters from this other book, I guess. I mean, I don't know who they are really other than their names, but they're getting married, and Carla's the best friend, Eamon's the brother, and he picks her up from Dublin because he lives there, and they decide to take some detours together, and they fall in love, and it's very sweet, and they're sort of like think it's a doomed romance to start because Carla doesn't want to fall in love and Eamon wants to go travel, and like there's reasons why, and they end up just finding themselves through this together, and it's really great. It was very cute, very whirlwind romancy, but like in a sweet way. For the 4th book I finished this week, I finished 5. So for the fourth book I read this week was the 3rd of the Daevabad trilogy, which is called The Empire of Gold. I had been working on this, and I told you guys this is by S.A. Chakraborty. I told you I needed a break during the election. I was a little bit too upset to read about this very political turmoil-y book. I took some time. I am not over it, but I also wanted to finish reading this, and I felt in a better place to read this. So I finished it. I've got to give, okay, I would give this book, I don't ever give ratings very often, but this is very close to a 5 for me. The series is a 5. For sure. This is definitely, if you like romantic, there's not a lot of, there's very little romance in this, like love scenes, mostly closed door anyway, and there's just like not even a lot of passion talk, right? Like this is very truly a fantasy that has like a sprinkling of ill-fated romance in it. Really, that's like the best way to describe it. This is another one where I was like, God, I got about 2/3 of the way through and I was like, how is she going to solve this? And I think that's always great in trilogies where you just can't see the end coming. I had hopes and dreams for the end, but I actually think it was better than anticipated because of one of the characters. I just didn't know what she could do with them that I would feel satisfied about, and she did it. She did a thing. It's got all of the emotions. There's funny parts. There are really tragically sad parts. There is frustration, there's hope. I mean, there is just so much she put into this book. And if you like fantasy books, like really, this is it's not a traditional Anglo-Saxony white people, you know, fantasy where the magic is still centered around you know, broadswords and white wizards, right? Like, it's different, okay? So there's a lot of depth in the world that she creates, and it is, you know, very like Middle Eastern inspired, East African inspired. Like, there's a lot of just Arabic roots here. So like, there's a lot about Cairo is one of the places in the story. There's a lot about like more Middle East. They always say like half the world away, but like this is supposed to be happening, I think, in like the late 1700s. So like traveling the world is very different. But I think they sort of allude to like some of the stories happening potentially in like the deserts of Afghanistan, but you're not really sure. Like it's not really identified because you're in a mystical city for some of it. It's so good. All I have to say is you should read it. Okay. The magic, okay. I said all I have to say is you. Okay, but the magic is good. The world building is good. The political turmoil is good. There's surprises. There is the way that she opens up the world is really interesting. The characters, oh, everything is so good. Okay, and then the last one I read was Nothing Like the Movies, which is the second of Better Than the Movies. So this is a Lynn Painter book. It's one of her YA romances. So again, very little spice to this. No spice to this. I don't think there's any. I mean, there's like a couple kisses or something. But the first one is the story of Wes and Liz falling in love. And they're like neighbors, best friends, fall in love after it's very like the Duff. I don't know if I've probably said this last time when I read this, is like the neighbor that is like equally annoying and her best friend sort of helps her to try to date this other person, and then they end up falling in love. This second one is that something big happens in Wes's life. I'm not going to give away really anything, but they were in college together. They decided to go to school together and were very much in love. Something big happens, and then they break up, and Wes is not in school, and then he returns to try to win her back. And I had a lot of squishy feelings about this. It was good. I really liked it. I didn't feel like right in the headspace to read this. It was like sitting on my bookshelf for a little bit because I got it from the library several weeks ago, and like my time was going to run out, and I was like, you know what, it's because I was like, I need to go back and like refresh myself on the story. So I just like read a really quick like review of it, and I was like, oh yeah, I totally remember these characters and I love them. So I jumped in and I really enjoyed it. It was a super quick read. Those are my books for the week. Okay, so let's talk real quick about one thing in the knitting world. And that is just like, sometimes I like to share featured dyers or other things, and or featured collections coming out, and I haven't talked about that in a while. There's a lot of holiday things coming out. I've missed many things. I'm not like gonna ever cover all of them, but one of them that I want to point out, and I was told will likely stay open until the 30th, is Pasley Knits is doing her year collection for next year. And she's doing both fiber and yarn, and it is called Nature's Palette. And I'll pop up a picture of like the big inspo picture, and then I'll pop up January, February, March. She released the sort of colorway picture themes, and then maybe I'll do a double for all of them. And then she's got a picture of like tones she's picked, so it's like giving you an insight into what might be in the variegated color. There's gonna be a tonal pair for all of them, and there's a lot of options for buying. So you can buy just the variegated fiber, or the variegated fiber plus the tonal, or the variegated fiber plus a sock set, or a sock, just the sock yarn, and in the variegated. Like, there's so many options, and I am super torn on what I'm gonna do or if I'm gonna buy it. But I love this inspiration, and I did not do the La Mercerie Year of Fiber because I wanted something that felt a little bit more cohesive, at least in dye style, if I was gonna do a year of. And I don't know, I didn't do any year ofs this year. I did Sock Squad the year before. I don't think I would spin all at once because I kind of want to see what they look like and see if I want to play with any together. And I do have a lot of fiber to spin, and I could do it with yarn and totally be happy with that. Like maybe do a Stella quilt blanket with it, or do like a sweet shop blanket like Ariel did. But I maybe am more drawn to the fiber rather than just adding yarn to this in single skeins, because yes, I could use them in a big project like that, but I would probably give myself tons of analysis paralysis. Not like I wouldn't for fiber, because I'd just be doing the same thing, paralysis on how I use them and then how I spin them and then how I use them. But like maybe I have more freedom because I could do like some combo spins and really have only 4 big chunky yarns. I don't know. I'm super torn. If you have ideas, or if you were into this or thinking about buying it, let me know and maybe we can inspire each other. But it is something that I'm really looking forward to potentially getting, because I love the idea of it and I love the inspo so far. Okay, the other thing I would like to talk about is a tip of the week real fast. This is a really small tip of the week this week, but it's something that I do a lot. And I realized we were talking about this at knit night, and I realized like everybody has a different thing they do. So again, some of these tips of the week or whatever we're going to talk about are going to be like, some of them will be big things like how do I figure out how to split a braid? Okay, we're going to talk about that one eventually. But what we were talking about at knit night is like, what do you do when you drop in something like this where you're holding a fluff or 2 yarns together of any type, but let's say it's a fluff and like a DK weight or a fingering weight yarn. You're typically going to notice if you drop the DK weight yarn. So if you're like not looking at your knitting and you're doing something else, and then you notice a few rows later that you drop the mohair, which is typically the one that you're going to notice. You wouldn't notice on your needles just for a stitch. What do you do? So we were just talking about this at knit night, because I had like a random marker on it and I was like trying to look at my knitting and I was like, what did I do here? I was like, oh yeah, I dropped a stitch. And so, for me personally, what I do is like, if I see one, and I don't have any right now to show you because I tend to like look every, I don't know, 4 to 5 rows. So it's not a lot to fix. But what I'll do is if I see one, I will find out, like I'll pull it out further so I can see which stitch it is that's affected. And then I will run my finger up to the top to the stitch on the, like on my needles or on my cable. Like typically it's not right near, it's really close to it. I might just do it at that time. But if I'm like further past it and I don't want to go back or whatever, I will put a light bulb stitch marker here on this thing. So I cannot pick up and knit this and forget about it. I never put it just down on the piece of yarn because I'll just knit past it a bunch of times while I'm again not looking. So I will put a light bulb stitch marker here. When I get to it in the round, I will take a crochet hook of similar size. Sometimes I do one size bigger because just, I don't know, that just like I think tends to help the tension, like one size larger. So if I'm making this as a size 5 millimeter needles, I would use a 5.5. If I just have a 5 on hand, I would also use that. And I will drop down using the crochet hook to help me unhook them so that I don't get like, I don't pull too much because the mohair is usually pretty sticky, or the suri. And I will pop them all out. And then I will go all the way down to that stitch. I'll pick it up with the mohair and I'll just use the crochet hook to get back. I don't ever use my needles to do it. I always use a crochet hook. So if I don't have a crochet hook handy and I happen to be like, find one of them, I'll put that interlocking stitch marker on. And let's say I only have this thing to knit on. I will actually just I would rather go back like 12 rows or 15 rows with the crochet hook than try to knit them. And not because it's impossible to do, but I just find that you tend to have like the legs pull a little bit more, and then you have to do more like zhuzhing, and it's like just so much faster with a crochet hook. So even if I have to do more of them later, I will do that. That is my tip of the week. If you find that you have a dropped single strand of a double stranded knit, put that hook or put that light bulb stitch marker right on your stitch, and then you cannot go by it, and use your crochet hook to pick up. And that is my tip of the week, everybody. I hope that was like semi-helpful. If you do something different, what do you do? Do you just ignore them? I mean, you can pop them to the inside and you probably wouldn't notice it a lot of the time, but I like to fix them if it's not in an inconvenient place. That's my personal preference. Okay, everyone. That's your very quick tip of the week. That is it for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I am going to, again, release an episode sometime during Thanksgiving week, so look out for that. And I hope everybody, if you're in the US, has a really enjoyable couple of days off, day off, whatever you get, that you eat some yummy foods and you get to, this year especially, while we got so much awful things happening in the world, take a moment to figure out what you're grateful for. And don't forget, we have Knit Chat Hour happening on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific. So please join us. If you, somebody asked me like what that means. That's also, oh gosh, 2 p.m. Eastern. So if that helps you, if you're in Europe, that might still be during the daytime for you. It might be a little bit late. It's a little bit early in the morning for Australia, but like it could also join. So again, across the world, hopefully this is like a semi-helpful time for people. If you join us, that would be so, so lovely. It's always the first link below in my description is my Discord link. You can just join the Discord, which is, that link should be good. If you can't figure it out, just message me. And then you just, there's a little event that is on the menu of the Discord, but also I'll put a reminder like an hour before, and then you just actually hop into our community hangout. That's a channel on the side that's video and voice. I'd love to see all of your happy faces and chat about knitting stuff. And we'll, you know, I'll have my, maybe I'll wear this because this is my newest finished thing. Maybe I'll wear something else, but come wear a knit, bring a knit, I'll have some probably a warm drink, and we'll just be chatting and hanging out, and it will be so fun. So hopefully I will see you there. If not, have a really great night, weekend, whenever you're watching this, and I hope you get some really fun knitting in. Thanks. Bye.